Welcome to the wall. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Let's get started.
Things my ex-boyfriend did and I still stayed. On my birthday, we got into a fight, so he threw my present into oncoming traffic. He made me sleep on FaceTime with him every single night because he thought I would just text boys all night. One time when we were hanging out, I caught him cheating and he ran upstairs, locked himself in his mom's room and was saying he was gonna off himself. I invited him camping one time with my family and he woke me up in the middle of the night and he was threatening to go wander around in the woods. And it was like 3 a.m. So I had to beg him all night to stay awake all night to make sure he didn't leave. He would go through like my text with my family. Like no one else, but always like my mom and my dad and my sister. One time we went mini golfing and I wasn't taking the game serious enough, and so he stormed off and left. And I still don't know where he went to this day. Whenever I would post like a selfie on my story, he would remake the same selfie and pose and post it on his story mocking me. Whenever we would get into a fight, he would turn his location on and go to his ex's house. This one girl had texted him and said, "If you bring me a Diet Coke, I'll give you a kiss." So he did. And I'm pretty sure I was at his house. And then after, I found out about it the next day from all his friends, and he tried to gaslight me and tell me that we weren't exclusive. One time, we got into a fight in physics class, so he broke up with me during that class. He would mock my family members or make fun of them and like talk crap on them to me. I could make like 4 more of these, but here is the makeup for today. Love you all.
Oh, hell no!
Look, there's no mystery here, no grand scheme of fate. You had all the evidence laid out in front of you, not just one or two signs, but a whole catalog of reasons to walk away. Yet, you stayed. Why? Because the drama, the uncertainty, and the toxicity of Chad had their own twisted appeal. Sure, with hindsight, it's easy to call it a mistake, but at the time, every one of his crazy antics felt like just another thrilling episode of your favorite show. He never changed, because he never had to. You accepted every tantrum, every manipulation, every act of disrespect. And at the end of the day, there are no villains in this story, just choices.
Things my ex did and I still stayed. My ex asked me if I would be down to have a with him and my best friend. The answer was no. My ex restricted what I could eat and told me that if I gained weight, he would break up with me. Whenever he would take me out on a date, he would make me pay half every time. And sometimes he would pay for things using his dad's credit card and still have me Venmo him half. He wouldn't give my half to his dad, though. He would just keep the money for himself. He went to prom with another girl while we were together. I ended things with him after that, but then I took him back. So, that one's on me, honestly. That's my fault. Once we went to a concert together, and before the concert started, we were both starving. So we got into line at a Chick-fil-A at the concert venue, and I didn't have my wallet on me, but he had his wallet, and he ordered his food. He was like, "Are you gonna get something?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't bring my wallet. Could I order something and then Venmo you?" And he said no. He said, "If you weren't smart enough to bring your wallet, then I guess you won't be able to eat tonight." And then he got his food and he ate it right in front of me. I called my mom, told her that I was starving and he wasn't going to pay for me to eat, even though I promised I would pay him back, like I always did. My mom was not happy about that. And so my ex said that if I was that hungry, then I would have to have my mom Venmo him, and then he would order me the food. But he needed my mom to Venmo right then and there, so he knew for a fact he would get his money. My mom Venmoed him, and then I was able to eat. But yeah, he was fully okay and content with letting me go hungry that night. My ex's own mother told me that her son takes after his father. He's mean and he'll never change, and he'll never be capable of giving me the treatment that I deserve. After hearing her say that, I don't know why I didn't just leave and end the relationship, but I still held on to hope that eventually one day he would treat me how I deserved. That never happens though. My ex said that he didn't want to have to buy me anything for Christmas, so he downloaded Temu and sent a download Temu link to a bunch of people from his contacts list, because if 7 people signed up, then he would get 7 free gifts. And those 7 free gifts from Temu was what I got for Christmas. It wasn't anything that I wanted, it was just the options for free stuff. So, Merry Christmas! I used to have to beg my ex to please brush his teeth. He said there was no point in brushing his teeth because he's just going to eat again at some point, so why brush your teeth? There's no point. So he would just chew a lot of gum. Eventually, he grew out of that little phase and he did start brushing his teeth, which is great, but it took way too much convincing.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Brothers, this is the ultimate proof that when a woman gets hooked, logic goes straight out the window. This guy treated her like garbage, and yet she stayed, selling herself the fantasy that one day he would change. He wasn't just stingy and controlling. His own mother literally warned her. This man is trash. Don't expect anything good. And what did she do? She stayed. Because deep down, it wasn't him keeping her there. It was the idea of saving him. Now, this isn't about justifying the guy. He's clearly a walking disaster. But let's be real. She allowed it, accepted it, and brought him back into her life after every humiliation. Because she had a savior complex, convinced that he would change for her. But Chad never changes.
Thanks, my ex did, but I still stayed. There were times where he smelled so bad that I had to force him to shower and brush his teeth. He would make me pay for literally everything and would ask me for money to buy me gifts. If I wanted to go over to his house, he would tell me that the only way I could be there was if I cleaned his whole house. I would literally have to sweep, mop, wash dishes, do the laundry, everything. He would threaten to break up with me if I didn't let him use my car because he didn't have one. And sometimes he would hide my car keys so that I couldn't go anywhere, which made me be late for either school or work. He was also a really bad driver, so one time when he borrowed my car, he hit a wall and then part of my bumper just came off. And I told my parents that it was me. He also forced me to stop talking to my friends, and then he would tell me to my face that they were so pretty and that he wished he could date them instead of me. He also refused to get a job, and he would wait all day outside of my job until my shift finished so that I could buy him stuff. He would also try to control what I wore and would get mad if my outfit was showing too much or if it was showing too little. He would always talk about how we should join the gym, and when we did, all he would do was either stare at other girls or talk about how much better they were than me. I'm not even kidding. There would be so many times when he would be like, go up to that girl and ask her what she does to work out so you can look like her. He would also ask me to write his essays, and when I would say no, he would say how stupid I was, and then he would talk about how he was going to break up with me. He would always make plans with me and then would ditch me to go hang out with his friends. And the worst part about this was, let's say that we had planned to go golfing, he would ditch me and go golfing with his friends. He would also bring his dirty clothes to my house and make me do his laundry because he said that that was all I was good for. He would also constantly tell me all the things that I could do to make myself look hotter. Eventually, if any of you are dating a guy that does any of these things, you need to leave him. Like, I'm not even joking. Leave him now.
Stop it. Get some help.
Where do they even find these guys? That's why I always say, absence, instability, and uncertainty will be your best allies. This is yet another proof that they love unstable men. With so many nice guys out there who they ignore because they're boring, they go after these chads who treat them like crap, exploit them, and don't value them. And yet, the moment he calls, no matter the hour, they run to him. Because they say one thing, but end up doing the exact opposite. If he was really that bad, why did she stay? Why did she put up with all of it? Because drama and emotional roller coasters are her addiction. A stable, caring guy would never get even half the effort she put into this walking disaster.
Women.
I think you'd personally be very silly to think that your ex doesn't think about you from time to time and doesn't miss you as much as you miss them. You were someone who gave them unconditional love, unconditional time. You showed them affection in the ways that they craved it. You were there for them whenever they needed it. You were a shoulder to lean on when they needed it. You were a person to them whenever they needed you. You were kind and considerate, even when they made mistakes, and you forgave them for things that you probably shouldn't have forgiven them for, but you did it anyways because you loved them. You defended them to all your friends and family every time they messed up, and you stood up for them whenever somebody got confrontational with them about the way that they hurt you. You gave them every part of yourself that you had to offer, and you think that they're not going to miss you? You think that they're not going to think of you from time to time? You think that they can hop on a dating app and find what you are as a person on the internet? The love that you gave your ex is not an easy find. You can't hop on Tinder and find that. You can't walk down the street or go to a coffee shop and find a person like you. But they haven't texted, they haven't called, they haven't reached out. It doesn't matter. They're probably avoidant attachment style, and they're probably not going to for a very, very long time. And they're probably not going to reach out to you until you're very, very over it. And it's going to be a little too late. You get what I'm trying to say. But to think that they don't think of you at all, to think that they don't reflect on how good you were to them ever, is insane. When you love somebody with a pure heart and the best of your ability, that's the kind of thing that makes an impact that doesn't go away for many, many years. And most of the time, unfortunately, they don't realize how good you were to them until it's too late. But don't ever let yourself think that they're not going to think of you from time to time. They're going to think about you every time they're disappointed on a first date. Every time they feel lonely, they're going to think about you. Every time they have something to celebrate in their lives and they have nobody to share it with, they will think about you. And don't ever forget it.
This kind of thinking is exactly why people stay in unstable relationships. Sure, no one forgets in 2 days, but the idea that you were so important in someone's life is just something you tell yourself to feel better. If they left you, it's because you weren't that important. If they ended things, it's because you didn't have as much of an impact as you think. The best thing to do is move on and keep going. But no, these so-called insights just keep people trapped in the past, stuck in therapy, and ruining their future relationships because they're still obsessed with their ex.
Things my ex has done to me and I still stayed with him. Disclaimer, I had someone tell me that they think I'm obsessed with my ex because I make TikToks about him. Bitch, I profit off my trauma. What can I say? I make money off every single video and every single video does well, so I get paid well. Let's continue. He told me to act my face and stop being such a beg. Oh my I'm going to be sick making this video. He told me that the best thing for me to do would be to drive my car into a wall. Constantly telling me to go play in traffic. Oh, that was a hot one. He used to do that all the time. Okay, this one's a bit dark. He left me in hospital on Christmas Day. I was scared I was having a miscarriage, but it wasn't a miscarriage in the end. But I had called him because something huge and alien-like came out of me. To this day, the hospital still doesn't really know what it was, but it was really painful and traumatic. And I drove myself to A&E. And as I'm driving myself to A&E on Christmas Day on my own, this guy calls me and asks me to order him a cab to a party. Whilst I'm driving myself, I was shaking in pain, right? And it turns out when I got to the hospital, by the way, the pains that I was having were like mini contractions to pass the massive thing that came out of me. Like, I don't care if that's TMI. I was going through a shit ton of pain and he asked me for a cab. And then later on in the night, I got excited again because he called and I thought, oh, he's going to come now. Like maybe he's going to leave the party because I was texting him being like, please, can you come? Like, I'm worried, I'm alone. And he called me just to get him a cab back home because he'd drank too much. He'd thrown up on his trainers and ruined his new shoes and he wanted a cab home. And I actually did it. I should have left him fucking stranded. Honestly, this video is not for you to feel sorry for me, but constantly telling me I should get lip filler and a boob job and how much better I will look that way every day. Without fail, yeah. And you know what? I still haven't had my tits done and I haven't had lip filler done. And will I do it? Probably not. Like, I was always thinking about lip filler, but just for the fact that a couple men have told me that they think I should do it, well, I will be doing the opposite of whatever the fuck a man would like me to do. Oh, this one's funny. He told me all his friends think I'm ugly. Well, that's not true, is it, darling? Need I say more? This video because he called me not long ago asking me to stop talking about him and I said, no, you can pay me to stop talking about you. And he didn't want to do that, so I'm going to carry on talking. I'm going to pay myself instead from talking. And finally, I'm not an influencer that's going to come onto the internet and pretend that my life is perfect. It's beyond perfect. And what else he gave me? A black eye. I would never post that on the internet, like any pictures or anything like that. You all know what a black eye looks like. But I've been through those situations and me posting about it doesn't mean I'm obsessed. It means that I'm trying to help other women because when I was going through it, I very much appreciated any other women who posted relatable videos for me to make me feel like I wasn't alone and I'm not the only person that's been through such a thing. Talking about it and laughing about it is a part of my healing. And if it bothers you, quite frankly, go and fuck yourself. In a nutshell.
Brothers, if she's making money telling the story of her adventures with her ex, then there was no trauma. she was just running a business. The truth is, women put up with all this because they love the instability these men bring. They thrive on the chaos and, deep down, have a bit of a masochistic side. That's why you see hundreds of comments from women saying they went through the same thing, that they relate. And of course they say, all men are like this. Well, no, not all men are like that. I'm sure at least one of Chad's friends was different. But who did she choose? Exactly, the one who treated her the worst. But we already know she doesn't want to take responsibility for her choices, because responsibility is kryptonite for women.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. Why do women put up with everything from Chad? Do you think some of these stories are real? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.